slobber on my vest.
Howdy, y'all.
It's us, the Emotional Cowgirls.
I'm Ree.
I'm Emma.
And today we're going to be reading some of my old fanfictions from junior high.
The most dangerous game.
Before we get started, if you would like to, go grab yourself some popcorn because it's going to be a fun little time we're going through.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to want some, trust me. So we came prepared with some, and also some delicious strawberry shake that tastes like strawberry milk. Cheers to the Emotional Cowgirls. All right.
I think
it's the first one. I think this is the first thing I ever wrote in here.
Yeah.
All right, so this is my Naruto one about me and Rock Lee, her and Neji.
True story.
All right. Rianu woke with a start to the feeling of burning flames in her eyes. She smelled wet paint. She opened her eyes to see Emma sitting a few feet in front of her with a smug expression on her face. She was holding a bottle of nail polish. It took a moment to realize what was happening. Oh no, she groaned, wiping her forehead with her finger. She looked at it to see large streaks of blue and yellow nail polish. She let out a long sigh. I fell asleep first, didn't I? Bingo, Emma replied smugly. Oh, Enma. My bad. Enma. It was their tradition to paint each other's face with nail polish, depending on who fell asleep first. True story. Mm-hmm. This time, it was Rianu. You better go wash up in the creek unless you want Rock to see you like that. Enma said with an evil grin on her face. She was right. Rianu realized as she made her way out of Jansa. Jansa is what they named their tent a few years ago at a sleepover.
True story.
It was 2:00 a.m. They were half asleep and they decided to call the tent something mixed between Jennifer and Sarah. So they came up with Jansa.
Oh, sorry.
Rihanna ran as fast as she could down the hill until she reached the creek. She quickly started scooping large handfuls of water and splashing them on her face. You missed a spot, she heard a voice behind her say. She quickly turned around to see Rock standing there. Don't worry, it's only me. He had a huge smile on his face. Rihanna chuckled and wiped the last of the nail polish off her face. She ran up to him and gave him a huge hug. Well, hello to you, too. His face flushed pink as he hugged her back, then laughed. I see you fell asleep first last night. Yeah, Rihanna chuckled. He laughed again and lifted her onto his shoulders. Why am I, getting flustered reading this? Let's go have some breakfast. I hate that I'm...
What?
Actually,
That's so cute. Oh my god.
I'm really red. Oh, jeez.
That is very
That
cute.
makes it better. Mm-hmm. When they arrived back at camp, everyone was already eaten. They had spotted Enma and Neji at a nearby bench. They were waving, Rianu, Rock, we saved you some pancakes. Hold on tight, Rock said as he ran over to meet them. Rianu laughed and obediently held onto him tighter. That sounded bad. As they approached the bench, Rock gently set Rianu down. Neji handed them their plates and everyone started silently eating. So, Enma said to break the silence, how'd everyone sleep? A little too well, Rianu chuckled. Everyone laughed. Then the silence returned. Neji casually put his arm around Enma. Their eyes met for a split second before Neji went red and quickly looked away. Aw, Enma Hyuga, Rianu swooned with a love-struck look on her face. Rianu Lee, Enma shot back, her face reddening. Rianu looked down and started to turn a shade of pink when she felt two loving arms hug her from behind. She turned around to see Rock grinning from ear to ear and blushing. That's right, he said. Tea!
That's right.
Rianu turned as red as a tomato. I spelled that wrong. Tomato with an E.
Pose.
And hugged Rock as hard as she could. Neji scooted closer to Enma. Their eyes met again, but this time Neji didn't look back. Instead, he pulled her into a tight hug. You people disgust me, they heard a voice call from afar. They all looked up to see Penny walking towards them, holding a plate of pancakes. She sat down between Enma and Rianu and began to eat. They were once again overcome by an awkward silence. After breakfast, they all went down to the creek to go spear fishing. I can't see the fish, Rock said as he continuously struck the water with his spear. The water's too murky because of all the nail polish. Still? That was a lot of nail polish. Jeez. You went crazy. Dude, easy on the nail polish. Jeez. Emma laughed nervously. I may have used a little too much. She glanced over it. You'd think it would wash away from the creek's current, but nah, dude.
I guess not.
She glanced over at Neji. His spear was full of fish. How did you? She began Byakugan. Neji answered quickly. Rianu squealed. They all looked over to see that she had also had one fish on her spear. Rianu? Rock began. Rianu grinned. I might not be able to be as quick as Neji, but I can still use Byakugan. Their jaws dropped. Rianu, Rock stuttered. That's right, Enma said with a grin. Rianu has the Byakugan.
Wow.
I forgot. I based
Plot
this
twist.
also off of the Sensei stuff too. I think he's in it.
Oh my. I bet he is.
Mm-hmm. No way, Rock said excitedly. When were you gonna tell me? Rianu chuckled. It never really came up. Neji still looked shocked. I've never heard of someone outside the Hyuga clan using Byakugan, he said hesitantly, and to learn it without inheriting it takes extremely difficult levels of training. Everyone got quiet. Who's your sensei? He asked curiously. My sensei? Rianu practically whispered. Enma shot her a glance. Rianu, is everything okay? Rock worriedly asked. Yeah, Rianu stuttered. I think I just breathed in too much nail polish fumes.
Probably.
Why don't you lie down and rest for a while? Emma suggested as she led her to a nearby patch of grass. Since I can't fish right now, I'll keep you company. Thanks, Emma, Rianu said quietly as they lied down. A few minutes later, Neji and Rock came back with spears full of fish. Feeling better? Rock kindly asked. A little bit, thanks. She smiled up at him. He returned the smile and sat down next to them. It was silent for a while until Enma quickly sat up. Where's Penny? They all looked around to find that she was out of sight. I'll use my Byakugan, Rian and Neji said together. They both started peering through the trees and trying to pick up a heat source. Over there, Neji pointed to the trees. Rianu looked over to see the glowing outline of two people standing by the creek. She's not alone, she said unsteadily. Everyone worriedly looked at each other. Well, don't just stand there, let's go, she said as she ran into the trees. Right, the others replied as they followed behind her. Wow. Penny, Rianu huffled as she bent down to catch her breath. The others stepped out of the trees behind her, looking exhausted. Then they suddenly all froze. Penny, she was sitting by the creek with Kiba, her hand in his. Hey, guys, she stuttered nervously as her face started turning red. Aww, and Rianu swooned. You two are just perfect. What? Penny stuttered. No, I hate love, remember? Aww, and Rianu chippered again, giggling. Rock laughed. I wouldn't be surprised if we were all married by the end of this summer. Wow. Everything got quiet. It was a joke, he said defensively. Everyone looked at each other. Rianu looked over at Neji to see him blushing profusely and staring at Emma.
Oh, wow.
She let out a huge squeal. They all looked at her for a moment and then laughed. That's my girl, Rock chuckled. Hey, at least it's not as weird as your drunken fist, Rianu teased. They all laughed. Well, now that we all know about Penny's little boyfriend, what do you say we all head back to camp, she snickered. That's idea one.
Wow. Also, you spelled Penny's like...
Yeah, with an I.
What? That's penis.
There's an apostrophe.
From what I saw, it's a penis.
Can you even see that? It's spelled like penis.
Somewhere in there.
This is my miraculous one.
Oh.
Can I read that one?
I don't think I've ever heard of this one.
Okay. This is the one I wrote about me.
Oh my
I'll bleep that
gosh.
name out, but about Lone Wolf and Blue Jay. Alright, chapter 1. The bell rang. Bree stumbled out of her seat and started towards the door. It was story day in English class, and she was eager to share a short story she'd been working on. She sprinted down the hall as fast as she could until she felt herself bump into something. The papers flew everywhere, and she tumbled to the ground. She sheepishly looked up to see a tall boy with brown hair standing above her with a surprised look on her face. I'm so sorry, he gasped as he got down to help her. No, it was my fault for running into you, Bree replied, embarrassed. Is that blood?
It might be.
Who knows? Here, let me help you, the boy said as he got down to pick up her papers. He stood up and handed them to her. Oh yeah, because I think I was writing this in Meldrum's class, and then I got a bloody nose and I had to run to the... I remember this now.
Oh, wow. So
I was literally nosebleeding over this.
Wow.
She stood up and handed them to her. I'm Ryan, by the way. Bree, she replied. Well, nice to meet you, Bree. Sorry again, he said as he darted down the hall. Ryan sat down. Oh, yeah, it's a page marker. Ryan sat down. You're late, said Miss Long. Sorry, ma'am, he replied as his mind wandered. Ryan, she snapped again. What? He said, snapping out of his daze. Please pay attention. Oh, right, he said, drifting off again. Yeah, that's all I have for that. Oh, this is my Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, man.
Then I started writing a fan fiction about the Uchimaki clan.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Hey Siri.
Just gonna end the video.
Well, shit. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Beep.
Now we'll have a word from our sponsors. Play an ad now, YouTube. Finding Sensei, coming soon to theaters. Alright, and we're back. Back after that ad.
Commercial break.
Should I read this one?
You know,
Would you like to read one?
you want me to read this
You
one?
want to?
Oh boy, yeah.
Alright, Emma's gonna read my Edward Elric X Reader. Studying. Oh, this is the cringy one. Good luck.
Alright, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will not read it in my accent because I
Welcome.
will try. Welcome. Alright. Right now, you're in your room studying for a huge anatomy test and you have to take tomorrow. I have dyslexia. This is very hard. Alright. You have to take tomorrow. You were supposed to be studying for weeks now, but you had to put it off to the last... I'm just going to read it normal. You had to put it out to the last minute. You're sitting on your bed, staring at a picture of a human skeleton, trying to remember the names of each bone. Your boyfriend, Edward Elric, is sitting next to you, reading his favorite J.K. Rowling novel. You pop a milk dud in your mouth as you begin labeling the humerus on the right-hand side of your worksheet. You've been studying for a solid 2 hours, which is strange since you haven't studied once in your entire life. Me, literally same.
I think when I was writing this, I was studying for my anatomy test in Jex's class, and I was eating milk duds on my bed.
Inspiration. You look up and notice Edward's staring at you with an odd expression. Why do you even eat those milk ball thingies anyway? He asks, confused. You let out a chuckle and turn to face him. Come on, Ed. Milk isn't all that bad. You bump a few milk duds into your hand, and the hand went out to him offeringly. Try it. It's chocolate. He hesitates a moment before turning his head away refusingly. You can't expect me to eat this stuff. If it has milk in the name, then it's going to be bad news. You don't say anything and continue to hold the candy out to him insistently. He glances over at you with the corner of his... eye for a moment, then sighs. I can't say no to that face, he mumbles quietly. Alright, these are crossed off. Should I read them?
I think those are just like mess ups. Like, I just decided I wanted to do that.
Oh, alright. You giggle as you hold the chocolate ball up to his mouth, blushing a little. At first he hesitates, turning slightly pink, then sighs and acceptingly bites the ball gently out of your hand and begins to chew it. To his surprise, he finds it's not nearly as bad as he feared, and it even had a rather enjoyable flavor. He looks over at you, embarrassed that he had been so afraid of trying it. Then pretending it never happened, he lays his head on your shoulders lovingly. Wow. You smile to yourself and begin to stroke his hair, enjoying the new silence that filled the room. Wow, that was the whole story.
I think that's on Wattpad.
You put it on Wattpad?
I put a whole series of those stories like that on Wattpad.
I could write a fanfic about Bond from Seven Deadly Sins.
Honestly, do it.
He's 11 out of 10.
I don't think that was the cringiest one that I wrote, though, of Edward.
Yeah, that was not bad.
I'm gonna read, should I read the Yu-Gi-Oh one?
If you want to.
This one has 2 chapters.
Wow.
Wow. Rin quietly made her way to her seat while the teacher's back was turned. I see we're late again. I see we're late to class again, Miss Rin, said Miss Go, turning around to face her. The class snickered. Rin turned bright red and glanced over at Yugi to see if he'd noticed. Oh, frick, I'm gonna blush again.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. Of course he was still focused on his workbook and wasn't aware of what was going on. Rin let out a sigh of relief and turned back to her own textbook. After what seemed like forever, the bell finally rang. Rin got out of her seat and began gathering her things when Mai ran over to her. Rin, we have a problem. Yeah, Rin replied, looking confused. Mai looked around. On second thought, maybe I shouldn't tell you here. I'd say this calls for a JC meeting. JC meetings happen every time something big happened between Rin and her friends. The JC stood for Janitor's Closet.
Janitor's Closet.
Rin sighed. Mai, I know you tend to exaggerate things a lot, but look, I'm really in a hurry. Can't you just tell me, here? Now it was Mai's turn to sigh. Rin, this is really important. Rin glanced at the clock. Fine, but we need to make it quick or I'll be late again. Right, Maya agreed. As she sent a text to Carla. Oh, that's Penny's cousin, by the way. Carly. I changed it to Carla for the sake of the fanfiction. But yeah, so Penny's cousin, because me and her both have a crush on Yugi.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
That is great.
So in this, it's basically like a love triangle between like everyone likes a certain person, but then they end up with someone completely different than they end up having a crush on. And so it's just like, I don't even know why I thought of this.
Genius.
Yeah. In a minute or so, Carla came running down to the hall. I came as quick as I could. All right, let's go, Maya said as she started towards the janitor's closet, the others following close behind. She swung open the door and everyone piled in. All right, now what's so important that we had to meet here, Rin asked. Maya let out a deep breath and flushed slightly pink. I'm gonna ask Seto to the Egyptian dance on Friday. Rin and Carla squealed. You go, girl, Carla said as she ran up to give her a hug. So, Maya started trying to change the subject. Who are you two asking? Everything suddenly went quiet, and both Rin and Carla began to turn a light shade of red. Maya giggles. I guess I'll find out soon enough. Heh, yeah. Rin and Carla stuttered, trying to play along. That's when the bell rang. I guess that means we gotta go now, Maya said, making her way out. Toodles! Yeah, the others replied as they all split ways. Chapter 2. Okay, Rin thought to herself. The dance is in 4 days. I've got to ask Yugi soon. Please pay attention, Rin, Mr. Watari. I can't say that in a Western accent. Mr. Watari. Mr. Watari said sternly, interrupting her train of thought. Right, she said hesitantly and glanced 2 seats over to see if Yugi had noticed. All her classes are with Yugi, I guess. Wow. Once again, he was focused on his work, but Taya wasn't. She was giving Rin a weird look that she couldn't interpret. Rin looked back at her textbook. When no one was looking, she got out her phone. She clicked on Maya's contact. What's going on? Taya gave me a really weird look, she typed. A few seconds later, her phone buzzed. Rin, silence your phone, said Mr. Watari, getting annoyed. Right, so sorry, Rin said as she checked Maya's reply. Wait, hold up, girl. Were you eyeing Yugi?
Wait, who said that? The teacher?
No. Maya. That's the text that she sent back.
Alright.
Rin gasped. That'd be funny. And quickly raised her hand. Mr. Watari sighed. What is it now, Rin? I really need to go to the bathroom. Alright, but please make it quick. Rin nodded and quietly left the room. She got out her phone again and typed, What makes you say that? About 2 seconds later, Maya replied, Everyone knows Taya has a thing for Yugi. Rin stood there for a moment before turning off her phone and walking back into the classroom. Then the bell rang. During the lunch period, Maya was in a crabby mood. Rin, why did you stop answering my text? I'm so sorry, Maya, Rin began. Mr. Watari caught me and took it away. Took away my phone. Maya let out a sigh. Rin, are you sure you weren't just embarrassed about the Yugi thing? Carla slowly looked at Rin in the eyes. Yugi thing? It's nothing really, said Maya. Carla hesitated for a moment before giggling and saying, Oh, are you talking about Yugi's duel tomorrow night at the Oakton Stadium? Of course, Maya responded. Aren't you going? Carla nervously rubbed her arm. I wasn't planning on it. Perfect, let's all 3 of us go together. Rin and Carla nervously looked at each other before hesitantly nodding. When Rin got home from school, she got a text from Maya. Hey, can you sleep over tonight? She replied, I'll check, and yelled, Mom, can I sleep over at Maya's? Her mom replied, if you do your homework, thanks, Mom. She texted Maya, it's a yup. Be there in a bit, and ran to her room. She grabbed the pillow and sleeping bag and ran out the door. Chapter 3. It's like just a paragraph. Rin knocked on Maya's door. In a few seconds, Maya opened the door. Come in, she said. Here, let me help you with your stuff. She grabbed Rin's stuff and began setting up. And at that point, I remember they were going to talk about the whole, like, Rin having a crush on Yugi thing and, like, have some girl talk about it. But, yeah. Yep. That will be all for today. Next time we can read some of Emma's.
Oh boy.
Alright, thanks for watching, y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed or cringed at these. I wouldn't blame you for either one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Mm-hmm. And,
tell your friends about this.
Yeah, tell your friends about it. See you next time.
Yeah.